live on the air. I'm Richard Saile.
This is wild.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Lounge Time. I'm your host, Rich Saile, and today I do not have the props that I usually would give or make fun of Chiefs bandwagons like I did last year at this time. No, I did not get myself the garbage bags, the brooms, the garbage pails, and the tissue boxes. No, I did not give myself that. No, and see, honestly, I did not like I was with the Brady years, where those losses were more emotional. But, see, my eyes are fine. We ain't got no watery eyes, okay? My face is still not red. We're good. We're good, okay? We're fine. We're fine, all right? I appreciate the small amount of fans that are checking up on me, making sure I'm good. And don't worry, I showed up. I showed up. I don't flake and run from smoke, so I'm good. But not bad for a team that went back-to-back 4-13 seasons, huh? Not bad. Not bad. But first off, the man of my word, I will give congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks, Mike McDaniels, their players, their organization, their coaching staff. They were the better team. They dominated us. They put belt to ass, as they would say, this year. Yep, they put belt to ass to us. Obviously, not in the way I expected this game to go, but they were the better team. They definitely not only showcased why they were the number one scoring defense, but they definitely showed they were the best defense this year in this 2026 NFL season. That's for certain. And yeah, they earned it. I mean, they kicked their ass. And again, I am not going to make excuses today. I'm just going to spit the facts. You guys take it how you want. That's that. I'm sure the national media is doing their victory lap right now. But on this show, while it may be different because it's not the result I wanted, I have my own way of not making this too bad today. Trying not to. The one thing I will say about myself is, in all the years as a Patriot fan, this is probably the best I've taken a Super Bowl loss. And maybe it's good for once not to go to high school dreading, oh great, I got to have all my classmates laugh and rage bait me nonstop. So that's one good thing about this show and getting the hell out of there. That's one great thing about that. It's even great not to deal with it in college. Trust me. I mean, thank God I'm out too. So it all worked out. It all worked out. So that if there's one silver lining, that's great. That's great. But while it wasn't the result I wanted my Patriots to have, the biggest thing I think they nailed was we got the foundational pieces. We have our franchise quarterback. We have a great head coach for years to come. And now it's just trying to get the next missing pieces to be in contention for the long haul. And that's the mystery of the unknown at this point. And again, there's a long off season. It just starts today. So now I know, okay, I got about 6 months till I got to watch a game. Not bad. I mean, now I got to go find some hobbies to do. But that's for the end of the show. No, we will have something as far as content that I'll tease at the end of the show later. But I will say, for a team that went 4-13 back-to-back years, the fact that we won 14 games, and we won the AFC East over the Bills, we won 3 playoff games, winning the AFC as a part of it. I mean, in a year with Mahomes out and Burrow out and Lamar out and Josh Allen losing in the playoffs, shit. Life's good. Life's good, man. So, yeah. I mean, one thing I can, I guess, joke with Bills fans on is Drake Maye at least made a Super Bowl while Josh Allen still struggles to get there. While Lamar's still struggling in Baltimore. And now he's got a new head coach. So, interesting. So Drake Maye and Joe Burrow have the same Super Bowl record now, 0-1. Well, now it's a race of who gets to their first ring. So, hopefully, Drake Maye is able to join that AFC quarterbacks of winning a championship at some point in the near future. Hopefully. But anyway, let's get to the Super Bowl ahead. We have a lot to cover with this matchup. It will be just a matchup and then some of the thoughts on New England's season for the most part, because there's a lot to unpack there. I thought that early on, it was playing out how I thought it would play out. It was going to be a defensive-heavy game. I thought the Patriots defense did a good job pressuring Darnold a little bit. There were a couple of attempts, I should say, not interceptions. There were a couple of near interceptions where I'm like, we're going to get to him. We're going to get to him. And we just couldn't get one time the ball going. Either Marcus Jones, Gonzo, Craig Woodson had a near one, I believe, and he balled out. And the pressure was just about to close in on Darnold for a couple sacks, and he got rid of the ball. I don't know how you judge science of seconds. Probably like maybe 2 or 3 tenths of a second just before pressure closed the gap. And I was like, dang. I don't know how exactly accurate I am with those point seconds, but that's what it was. But they were doing their job, holding the field goals for 3 quarters. Offensively, we're going to have a lot more questions on what happened than I have. But the first drive of the game, I thought, okay, we had some nice plays moving. And then it just stalled from there. It just stalled. And I want to save it for like the big New England pictures, like all of it, but I want to talk strictly of the game. I thought they did a good job of containing JSN for a little bit. Like, he never really broke the game open. Shaheed, he didn't really have anything like those like deep posts, the crossers that would kill us. I believe it was Gonzo who saved a touchdown that had the diving swat, which was really clutch because that could have been a real early knockout punch. And then I thought Cooper Kupp, he did make a couple plays that I figured was going to happen when you have a lot of attention going towards Jackson Smith and Jigba, and then you got to watch Shaheed over top, and then somebody forgets Cooper Kupp's the main threat underneath and over the middle. Well, that's what happened. And then you had Barner kind of sneak in on some of those slip routes. And then Walker, you try to contain him, and then he's just patient enough to where when that one hole opens up, and I saw the tape with the Rams, He would just hit the hole once it opened up. And they did a decent job containing him. And then, like, there was a couple times where when the hole opened up, he just bursted right through it. Milton Williams got a sack like I expected in the game. But for those of you that paid attention to what I said trade deadline, of them having a lack of a true edge rusher, you see the game I'm talking about, that it could have been used? This was the game I was talking about back when I said they needed an edge rusher. A guy that can actually get an attention of an offensive line. And that's what they're lacking on defense. However, that defense did everything possible they could to keep us in the game. So I want to make it very clear. I am not in 1 ounce of anything that I watched last night. I'm not even blaming an ounce of this game on the defense. They did everything they could possible. They did. The fourth quarter, they literally tried everything. And then the end of the third, when Maye fumbled, that's when the dam broke. But this was a game that, if you're going to find one little bit of positive spark, that unit's going to be really good next year. And I want to say, though, too, that defense is going to be fully intact next year, too. You don't have a lot of guys leaving from that side of the ball. And there's a way where you can convert certain money into bonuses, which frees up more cap space, which I believe they're going to figure out, but that's a while from now. But this defense really is a very bright spot for this team going forward next season. They balled out. And I'm going to give flowers to Zach Core for how he handled the defense, especially when Terrell Williams was out with prostate cancer most of the year. That unit's going to be really good. Now, Gonzo, he's going to reset the market because he's coming up now on a contract year, and I guarantee they're going to pick up the fifth-year option. I would be stunned if they did not, which they will. Two young safeties that got better as the year went on, and I think that unit's going to be very good next season, and I'm very proud of the defense. They did everything they were supposed to do. Not 1 ounce of blame's going to the defense. Now, offensively, there's a lot of work that needs to be studied this offseason. A lot. Will Campbell, it's going to be a long offseason for you. It's going to be a long offseason for you, Will Campbell. You had a horrible postseason run. Did the injury have a factor in him playing horrible? I have no idea if it did. It might have. But either way, you got no excuse. And you got a lot to learn in the offseason. You need to either get better or they're going to have to kick your ass at guard. And then there's a real question of who's your actual left tackle going to be? Which, for his sake, I hope he gets better. After this game, though, and watching the playoffs as a whole, I don't know what they're going to do with him. I don't know if he's going to get better because he really struggled. I mean, I got to think back to some really, at times, tackles that struggled. And I remember a few that I've called out that I haven't liked. But really this bad? I mean, the one year that pops out is 2015 tackles. I mean, that's when we had to kick Sebastian Vollmer over from right tackle to left tackle. And then we had a carousel of Marcus Cannon, Cameron Fleming. I mean, that's how bad he was this playoffs. He's that level bad right now. That, again, the whole concerns about the arm length thing, those are legit now. I mean, he's going to have to play better next season. Because there's some uncomfortable conversations, I bet, that are going to be had in the offseason if he's going to have to slide in at guard. Jared Wilson, you too. It's a long offseason for you. You struggled mightily too. Maybe you move to center. I don't know. But the one weakness, or I should say rather, not just one weakness, all the weaknesses New England had that everybody was saying came back to show on the biggest stage. And they were all preseason concerns, and then we kind of worried less about it because of the favorable opponents that everybody said. And then they started to kind of come back once the top 5 defenses started to ramp up and the offensive line wasn't playing well. And granted, they won 3 of those games against top 5 defenses. But it was just at some point, you knew one of these games was bound to happen. And I had a weird feeling like as the game wore on, they couldn't block. Morgan Moses, you're a good veteran for the locker room, yes. But we need a young right tackle that's going to have to be able to hold up on his own. And yes, he's a good veteran, but he got beat bad too. The whole line got beat bad. I mean, it was bad. There's going to be a lot of real questions on that side during the offseason. How do you fix the line holes? Because when you're put in the same conversation as the most sacks allowed in a single postseason, which, mind you, was the 2021 Bengals that had the most before last night, how are the Bengals doing with Joe Burrow's offensive line? Why don't you tell me that? Yeah, not great. Because they haven't made the playoffs since the AFC Championship game in 22. Ask the Bengals and Joe Burrow how they're doing, protecting him. So, if anything hasn't taught you what we saw, well, that's the game right there. That shows you got to figure out how to fix that offensive line, because it was bad. It was bad. Now, the receiving core. They could not separate all night. And that secondary in Seattle is really good. I'm not taking anything away from them at all. But that receiving core, they couldn't separate as the playoffs wore on. And it was very concerning. Stephon Diggs, he showed up in big games, not last night, but he won us a few games. People forget this. Buffalo and Buffalo, Baltimore and Buffalo. Baltimore and Baltimore. Sorry. So 2 games he really, really won on big stages. Matt Collins, very good as a blocker. And he did catch a touchdown last night in garbage time. Hunter Henry, if you're willing to take a pay cut, that's fine with me. You cannot be the starting tight end next season. There needs to be a younger, more fluid route runner on this team. He's great at blocking. Do not get me wrong. He's a great possession tight end. He is not a guy that can stretch the field. And that's the one thing that I've been saying for years on this show New England needs. I don't know why Kyle Williams didn't play much this year. I don't know what the reason is. Hopefully he can take a leap and get more playing time, because I think that kid's going to be a force in this offense if they give him playing time and he is somehow able to learn this offense. I don't know why he didn't play much. But when he did play, he had some really nice plays. Tampa, the end of the first quarter, touchdown. I believe Baltimore, he had a touchdown as well. And then I didn't really see him much after that. So I hope he can develop into something. Kayshon Boutte, listen, he's a good 50-50 receiver, but this unit as a whole really struggled to separate. And Pop Douglas, the only reason he's even useful is if you can't separate versus man coverage, which is really his specialty. In zones, he's not really great. But this is where you need a guy that a secondary has to key on, that dictates why we have to play this coverage. Now, I know the question is going to be, Rich, do you want A.J. Brown? If you ask me right now, I don't. Because I don't think A.J. Brown's distractions and personality is what you need for this young team trying to ascend. And I don't think that's the answer that you want to bring in. Now, granted, Stephon Diggs had similar concerns. However, here's the key difference. Diggs brought a leadership role that I don't think A.J. Brown would bring to that team. I don't think he would. I know he's won, but he tore that Eagles locker room apart after this season. The second half of that season, the Eagles completely looked like the shell of themselves on offense because he wanted the ball, but they were trying to win and find an identity, and they never found that identity all year. Now you want to bring A.J. Brown potentially in, if you bring him in. You want him to kind of be a guy that demands the ball from a kid that's trying to learn the position. I don't know if that's a good mix for what this team needs right now. They need a number one receiver. But here's the thing people don't want to admit. You either got to draft the right receiver and develop him really, really well. Look at a lot of the number ones now. Puka, JSN, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. All of those guys were drafted and developed by a team. CeeDee Lamb, I'll bring another one up. You aren't going to trade for a number one receiver unless you're willing to give up significant draft capital. And I don't know if New England's willing to give up a 31st overall pick for a guy that is in his mid-20s or into the 27, which is starting late 20s. I don't know if you're willing to do that. I don't see them doing that, but that's what this team needs. They have to get some fluidity on offense, meaning they need somebody to dictate coverage, to stretch a defense, to make defenses go, oh crap, you cannot let this guy get behind us. That's the one lacking thing among the skill positions that this team needs offensively to build into a team that can contend for years to come. And last night was a glaring example of why I've been saying for a while they need a number one, and I know this year, for the most part, they were able to get away with it with how certain things happen. That season, though, should not disclose the importance of a number one receiver for Drake Maye's development to help make his life easier. Part of it was the offensive line having a horrible night. But let's be honest. The whole offense had a bad night. I'm not even giving Drake Maye a pass. No way. He played his worst game at the worst time. And if you guys remember, how many times have I screamed, throw the ball away on numerous games that he does not seem to learn to do? I don't know why he doesn't throw the ball away and why he holds it too long. I don't know why, but there were a couple plays where a couple guys were open. One where Diggs is crossing the middle of the field and he's open, and I don't know why he's not even looking to throw him there. He's looking in the vicinity of where Diggs is breaking inside, and he doesn't throw it. I don't know why he doesn't see it. I don't know if it's him just trying to see if somebody can make a play, which he did too much this year. He held the ball way too long. He didn't throw it away. And I think when he tries to extend plays, in some cases it was well early in the year. But later on, he couldn't do that anymore. And he played horrible this postseason. And I know he had the one game with Denver where he used his legs more. And I know people were saying he needs to learn how to do it better off script, which there were moments he did do that well this playoffs. But he has to learn in this game to throw the ball away and not take a sack and live for another down in certain situations. And that's the next thing in his development that I need to see if he's going to learn to do. And I'm concerned after last night. I don't know if he is going to learn that, because I kept seeing the same issue all season long as it progressed, him not throwing the ball away, and I got frustrated several times. And I'm like, McDaniels is probably telling you the same shit. Throw the ball away. And he keeps trying to look downfield, and that's his problem. I understand the kid's in his second year. I'm not saying that he's got a lot to learn, though. he's got a lot this offseason to learn. The good news is he's 23 and it's his second year. He has a lot to learn, though. A lot to learn. To the real culprit who I need somebody to put an APB out for. Josh McDaniels. You ain't getting away with shit from me. Okay? You are not. Not today. Nope. Two things can be true, ladies and gentlemen. He is one of the best offensive coordinators of this generation. Absolutely. But he called the worst game plan I have ever seen in a Super Bowl in the years I've been watching. And I've been watching since the Steelers-Cardinals Super Bowl in 08. That was the first one I watched. I've watched multiple Super Bowls since. This was the worst game plan I have ever seen somebody call in a Super Bowl. I know last year we had Andy Reid with the Eagles. That is up there too. That is up there too. But single-handedly watching that game, possession by possession, I couldn't tell what the hell Josh McDaniels was trying to do in this game. What was your plan all week? No, for 2 weeks. What was your plan for 2 weeks? I kept trying to figure out, watching the game, what are you trying to do? You tried to spread them out. You had a couple plays outside early, and then you went away from it. You ran a couple times, and then when the holes closed, you abandoned the run. You had no answer for their blitzes. You had no answers to get any separation for a receiving core that struggles against man coverage. And not only that, throughout the whole night, where was the motions? Where was the creativity in this offense that I know he's capable of? You know what makes me now begin to question? And listen, guys, I tried to let it slide all year. And this is just what I gathered from hearing his interview on Julian Edelman's podcast, Games with Names. They had McDaniels on last offseason. And one of the things that we were trying to figure out on this show was, what did Josh McDaniels learn from being a year out of coaching? Well, he went to Buffalo. He went to Kansas City to learn. And I was like, okay, are we going to see some new formations? Are we going to see some new plays? Are we going to see a more exciting creativity element of McDaniels' offense we haven't seen? Now that I've looked at this season as a whole, I keep asking myself this question. Did you learn anything from being out a year of coaching Josh McDaniels? Did you learn anything that you did this year? Because I couldn't tell. I really couldn't tell last night. I don't know what the hell your game plan was. And I need to know what it was. Like, what was your goal going into the game? Were you trying to run? And then you realized you couldn't run? And then you try to put it in Drake's hands? Well, what was your plan against that secondary who plays aggressive man coverage? And nothing. You had zero answers. And it took the fourth quarter, when you had to play desperation mode, to finally get points on the board and avoid a shutout. I don't know what happened to him. There were a lot of games this year that, and I'm including the playoffs, he coached scared, McDaniels. And I was like, I've watched Josh McDaniels before. He doesn't call games scared. Well, as the playoffs wore on, he did call them scared. In the playoffs, you didn't see many downfield shots. You didn't see much creativity. Did he lose confidence in the guys he trusts to call plays for? Like, I'm genuinely confused as to why he got so outclassed and outcoached that bad last night. And I'm not even going to just count this game. I'm going to count the playoffs. Because I noticed there was a different way he called games. Now, he won 3 of them because the defense was balling. And Drake has to learn that, yes, some games it's not going to be for me to go off. Some days it's the running game. Some days this type of style works, which I'm sure he learned in a positive way. But there's also games where, like today, I have to get rid of the ball. And I have to see how we can make somebody get open. But Josh McDaniels did not put him in winnable situations all night long. And to me, if I'm going to point at anybody big that needs the spotlight on this loss, we can blame Will Campbell. We can blame the line. We can play the blame game all we want on a lot of games. The whole offense had a horrible night, including Josh McDaniels. To me, the big story is what happened to Josh McDaniels and what was the plan all game. I could not even identify it watching it live. I had a tweet on @LoungeTimePod on X. Somebody got back to me basically with his take on the game. I won't say his name. And he gave me a college level essay on it, which by the way I thought was very insightful and informational. But to me it was just, I'm starting to question right now if the creativity juice that we've seen in Josh McDaniels' offenses before is now gone. I don't see the innovative pre-snap motion we used to see when it was him and Tom Brady in the offense. I didn't see down the field shots in the postseason. And I'm starting to wonder if it's a combination of him losing confidence in the receivers he had plays called for that just simply could not make plays anymore. I don't know what the problem was, and I really think this is the biggest headline of watching this game and putting it together. Because they did not score for 3 quarters up until it was desperation mode, and they scored, and then you had a drive going, and then Drake Maye underthrows the one receiver breaking inside, and that's when Julian Love picked off, and that's all she wrote. And it's demoralizing when a season, I would say, for the most part, was one of the most fun and enjoyable teams I have watched post-Tom Brady era that goes out sad like this. I mean, it was sad to watch that the offense declining rapidly was the theme of the playoffs. And there's a lot of upgrades that need to be made to this roster if they're going to be able to contend long term. That is glaring question marks. Whether that involves giving up that 31st overall pick to get Max Crosby or A.J. Brown or somebody maybe that's not named on the trade block right now. That's why they're going to have all the offseason meetings at the combine and all that stuff. There needs to be serious conversations of putting the best talent around Drake Maye while he's on that rookie contract. Because let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Ask the Bengals, ask the Ravens, ask the Bills what it's like now to put talent and youth around Josh Allen to get him everything he needs, or Joe Burrow what he needs, or Lamar Jackson. Ask those teams how they're doing. Because they can get as far to the championship game, but they can't get to the Super Bowl since the last 4 years. And this is the window you have to maximize. And the good news is this team is mostly going to be intact, but there's going to have to be some very uncomfortable conversations of we need to maximize this kid while on the rookie contract. Now, you're going to have a good amount of cap space, which is great, but there's no excuse to not upgrade this roster from what it was at the beginning of this season. There's no excuse for this. And they have to maximize his window. Now, my thoughts and feelings right now, I'm more disappointed than sad because I also think this is the missed opportunity for them. In a year where the Chiefs are out of the playoffs, in a year where Josh Allen loses in the postseason, in a year where Denver loses its starting quarterback to an ankle injury, you beat them, yes, but they're not going anywhere. In a year where CJ Stroud, he fell off last year, but really in the biggest game he fell off. In a year where the Chargers lost their tackles majority of the year, and the Jaguars are ascending, but they're similar boat to New England as far as young teams that won their division and ascending. In a year where Mahomes out of the field, Allen loses, Bo Nix gets hurt, Lamar's not in the field, Joe Burrow's not in the field, you lose the Super Bowl this bad, it's not going to get easier for you. It's not going to get easier for you. And the only way you get back to this point, number one, it starts with upgrading that roster. Number two, what is this identity on offense going to be to maximize Drake Maye's skill sets and the development from him growing as a player in this league? He made some strides this year. He did. But the problem now I'm wondering is, what is this offensive identity going to be to maximize his skill sets? That's what I'm worried right now. And I think this was a huge missed opportunity left on the table that I felt like they could have capitalized on, and they squandered it. They did not have the better roster that compared to Seattle. I will say that. I will concede that. But that's where you have that chance on that rookie deal to maximize that window. And I hope, for my own sake, it's not the next Dan Marino situation where he goes in his second year and never goes back. Because Joe Burrow had a similar route. Ask Joe Burrow how it's going right now. So that's how I see it. But Josh McDaniels, the big spotlight's on him. He got outclassed and outcoached on offense against Mike McDonald. Straight up. I thought, honestly, Darnold, he made a little bit more throws than Maye did. And he protected the ball. And I don't know how many teams went a single postseason without a turnover, but they were one of them. And yeah, they kicked our ass, plain and simple. So I look at this game and I just come away disappointed more so than sad, because while we're not in the gutter anymore like we were before this season started, we're at least now in the running for the playoffs for the remainder of Maye's rookie deal. But the big importance is building and maximizing this kid's talents. You have to get this kid talent. And this was the same problem 4 years ago on this show I started, where I was worried, how are they going to maximize Mac Jones at that time? Are they going to go get him a number one receiver? Are they going to go get him some speed? Are they going to get him somebody that can stretch a defense, that dictates coverage? And we saw what happened there. I don't think Vrabel's going to hire a defensive coach to be an offensive coach. I don't think that's going to happen. But I am growing concerned with how they're going to maximize this kid's skill set from the perimeter. And Travion Henderson, hopefully he takes a jump next season. I don't know if he saw the field well a lot when he got the ball. But this offensive line, they need a lot of work. So, again, if they're just tuning in late, I'm giving all the credit in the world to Mike McDonald and the Seahawks coaching staff, their players. They were the better team. They were the better roster. They outplayed us. They outcoached us. And there's nothing else I could say to that. They were the better team. And it's demoralizing to see a team that was fun and enjoyable to watch in my New England Patriots the way the season ended. But I will not sit here and make excuses. I'm telling you the facts. I'm telling you from how I saw this game. And you know what? It's okay to disagree. But I will say, hopefully, this isn't the last time we're back. Hopefully this is not. But so, crazy enough, the 2025 season has flown by. But do not worry. We usually will have a draft prediction show where I will pick my mock draft. I forgot last year. I'm promising this year we're not going to forget. And I will say that we might do a couple reactions to free agency news. I'm planning to work some new content in there for some offseason trades if they go down, some free agent signings, maybe do some offseason grades, possible content ideas. I'm floating around some ideas that I kind of want to mess around with for fun. Because my goal for 2026 is to give you guys some different content ideas instead of the same old weekly show that I usually do, and we're still going to do it going into the 2026 season. There's no question in my mind. But I'm trying to think of some creative ways that we can get some content out there and make the offseason a little bit fun. And trying some new things out would be a good thing. And this studio behind me, my goal is to try to revamp it a little bit in a good way. I have some ideas for that as well. But that will be during my off season, which starts today, actually. But that will be in the foreseeable future where the studio might get a little revamp and it might be a different look next year. I don't know. But I have some plans on how to make it where people go, okay, I like this. And I would like to continue to grow this year. But fret not. March Madness, we are doing a live bracket reaction show. That's going to happen. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do my bracket predictions. Last year, if you guys remember, we ended up with 90% on the bracket. We nearly had a perfect national championship game. And we had the right champion, right? So that's a really good thing. And I'm excited to do it this year as well because it was one of my most fun videos. By the way, last Monday, when I did my college basketball tier list, we are nearing 200 views on that video. So I am planning to make one more tier list before the Selection Sunday bracket comes out. I'm looking forward to doing that again. And I'm glad that I'm getting a lot of views on that. And I had one of my loyal subscribers comment on one of the teams that he felt was fairly ranked. And I could see it's a popular thing. So we are going to do one more tier list before Selection Sunday. And maybe we'll do another tier list after Selection Sunday's out. I might not do all 68 teams. I might do maybe a good 25 to 40 teams. I think that's fair. Maybe 50, depending on a couple seeds that might be favorable. I don't know. It's a lot of teams in that field. It might be too big of a tier list to do. I don't want to make them too long, but there will be a March Madness episode coming out next month. So don't worry. But for the time being now, Lounge Time's going on a little break. I want to take a little bit of an off-season break myself, but we will be back next month for March Madness, the final Selection Sunday bracket. We are going to also do a tier list. It will be in the beginning of March. I will pick and choose when it's going to be. I might do it before the conference tournament starts because that way we'll see how that shapes out. So I'm looking to do it early March, and then we'll have the full bracket show right after Selection Sunday. That is the plan for March content. So you do not want to miss out. Stick around for that next month. But we are going on a temporary break because now that football season is concluded, I want to now begin my off season. So we're going on a temporary break for a little bit. We will be back, though, next month with some March Madness content. So do not worry. In the meantime, thank you so much for tuning in and watching Lounge Time all NFL season. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so that way you guys can get all of the latest content, not just for March Madness coming up, but for the 2026 season, even the offseason. We are going to mess around and get a couple of content ideas in there. We're going to do a draft preview, so do not miss out. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. There is going to be content for this offseason, but it will be after the temporary break that I'm going to have. You can also follow me at LoungeTimePod on X. I did tweet a lot after I did tweet a lot during the Super Bowl. I'm sure you guys that are on X that follow me already see some comments that I made. It's nothing bad, but just some thoughts on the game. But I am, again, not really much questions to answer unless you want to save it for the March Madness bracket. That would be great to do. Because I could do a couple of sleepers, I could do a couple of dark horses, I could do a couple of national title favorites. So if you got questions on March Madness and stuff, I'll definitely keep it in my backhand pocket, and we'll save it for either the tier list or we'll save it for the bracket show. We'll do it something like that. And then maybe when the offseason hits, they got a couple questions, I'll answer them there. You can also follow on Rumble. We just built Rumble. Launch time this year, went to Rumble. We want to build that community up. So, again, we only got a couple followers. I want to grow that going into 2026. And hopefully, you guys have a good amount of episodes from this past season. I know we had a little bit of hiccups down the road, but we have most of the season episodes there. So, if you want to give us a follow there, that would be great. Let's hope to build and grow that community of followers there. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Lounge Time. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully it wasn't too long today, but when there's one game, there's not really much to say. But hopefully you guys enjoy the 2026 NFL season content. We are not stopping going into this year. We are going to be back after a temporary break for March Madness, some NFL offseason content we're going to have in the works. Definitely a draft, mock draft in April for sure. And then offseason grades I might work in. But we got some ideas on the way. Just got to wait and see when it comes out. But thank you so much for watching Lounge Time all season long. I hope you guys enjoyed my content. I hope you guys enjoyed the videos. And we are still going to be back, so I hope you guys continue to support and grow this channel with me together. We're on our road to 50 subscribers, and I cannot do without all of you guys. So after a temporary break, I will see you guys next month for more college basketball content, a new tier list, March Madness Selection Sunday bracket, and picks. Hopefully we can get another great bracket. And the off-season content will be starting in March. So until then, I'll see you guys next month. And enjoy your NFL offseason, everybody. Have a great, great offseason. And hope to see you guys next month.